Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle, and this is Scary October, where we are discussing a lot of scary topics this month. This one is about anxiety, and we are going to talk about how to redefine it. And we're going to also talk about how emotions are made, and we're going to be talking about some anxiety triggers and how to overcome them and heal them. So let's get into it. So today we're going to be redefining anxiety so that you can get out of victim mode and feel like you're in more control of your life and not like you're blindsided by these emotions when they show up. So let me start off by saying that we experience a plethora of emotions throughout the day, from happiness to hopefulness to excited to boredom to nervousness to worry to stress to all kinds of emotions. And these are all normal responses to situations and thought processes and stories that we're telling ourselves. But something I've noticed is that society has really honed in on this term anxiety for some reason. So there are a lot of emotions that can fall under this blanket term anxiety. And some of those emotions could be excited. That feels like anxiety, I think, to people sometimes. Also, suspense can feel like anxiety. Nervousness can feel like anxiety. Fear, let's see, anticipation, and dis-ease or worry. These are all different emotions. And these different emotions, they all have a sort of just slightly different feel to them. And it's very, very small. But if you look into how you're really feeling with laser beam focus, you can kind of pinpoint exactly how you feel. So what I'm trying to encourage you to do today is to stop using the blanket term anxiety and start using more precise language to describe how you're really feeling. So let me give you some examples of how you can differentiate what feeling you're actually feeling in the moment, okay? And be more precise. And so some examples would be maybe you're watching a thriller or a scary movie, and the feeling that you're feeling is suspense and not anxiety. If you're waiting to find out who was elected president, you may feel anticipation. Going into a concert, you may feel excited. And maybe performing on stage or speaking in front of a group of people can cause nervousness within you. And then maybe going into a social situation, you feel a little dis-ease because it's new and maybe you don't know a lot of people there. How about not hearing from a child after they're supposed to be home an hour ago? You might feel worry. Do you see how all of these emotions have their precise language and they have a precise feeling? And so if you kind of tune into your body, you can kind of use the precise language to actually explain how you're really feeling, and instead of using this blanket term that society has put on everyone. So we can't really define our whole entire life or being off of one emotion such as anxiety, because we're experiencing a whole bunch of emotions throughout the day. And we don't need to just focus on this one negative emotion, because that's like saying, when you say I have anxiety, well, then you could also say I have happiness, or I have boredom, or I have excitement. You see how weird that sounds? So why would you identify your whole being, your state of being, with one emotion? Okay, number one, stop saying I have anxiety, because anxiety is just a temporary emotion and a temporary part in time. Just like happiness, just like fun, just like boredom. And use precise language to describe what you're actually feeling. Your emotions are not a sickness. Your emotions are not a disorder. Your emotions are messengers that tell you when things are going wrong, when things are going right. They tell you what you're thinking. They tell you the story that you're telling yourself. And let me explain how that works. Let's talk about how emotions are made. So something happens, you have a thought, and then your brain releases these neuropeptides into your bloodstream, which release this chemical that correlates with the thought that you had based on past experiences. And bam, an emotion is made. Takes the mystery out of it a little bit, doesn't it? So if you can manage your thoughts, you can manage your emotions. So now let's talk about some common triggers that can happen that can bring up these low vibe emotions. From exploring the dark corners of our mind last week, we learned that our thoughts and the stories that we're telling ourselves are causing a whole lot of low vibe emotions in our life. Nervousness, fear, worry, dis-ease, stress, all of these are created in the mind. Another trigger is past trauma experiences. So something happened to you maybe as a child or an adult and it was traumatic, and now every time you get into a similar situation or you're around someone that triggers you, then this brings up these negative emotions. Another trigger could be your stressful job or a situation at work or even people that trigger your emotions. And another thing that can trigger nervousness and worry and fear is caffeine. So it's good to be aware of these triggers, but we don't have to hide from the things that do trigger us. And that's where the scary part comes in. I don't want you to cut yourself off from society. I don't want you to go hide in a bubble. I don't want you to build up these walls and push people out, because while that may work temporarily, it's not a long-term healing scenario for the habits of the low vibe emotions that you're feeling. Because really, if you're feeling nervous all the time, fear all the time, worry all the time, it's only because that you are used to having these worrisome thoughts, these fear-based thoughts, and things like that. And you're having these thoughts more often than you're having the high vibe thoughts, okay? So it's just a habit, and that's why you feel like you feel this way all the time. It's because you're thinking things that are causing fear, worry, nervousness, and all that within you constantly. So I want you to go within throughout the day, and as you see these worrisome thoughts or these thoughts that make you feel nervous or make you feel fear, I want you to stop them dead in their tracks, and I want you to flip the script on them, flip the story you're telling yourself, and I want you to think differently, because these new thought habits is what's going to raise your vibration and put you in those elevated moods of happiness and contentment and well-being and excitement and joyfulness. And you're going to start creating new habits that way. If you drink coffee, cut the coffee out, drink 1 cup a day. That's all I drink. I drink 1 cup, and sometimes I drink 2 if I absolutely need it. Like maybe I have something that I know I'm going to have energy for in the evening that I don't normally do. I'll have a second cup then. But my number one culprit of causing worry inside of me, I found out, was caffeine, and I was drinking like all day long. So you want to make sure that you minimize your caffeine intake to 1 cup a day. So for the scary part, what I want you to do is to put yourself in situations that you know are triggering, and put yourself around people that you know are going to trigger you. So if you're nervous before social situations and you feel like you just can't be there and be comfortable, then I want you to put yourself in that situation. I want you to call someone, and I want you to plan something, and I want you to go watch my video on social anxiety and do some of the tips I taught you in there. Or let's say you're triggered by a certain person. I want you to go to a place that has that person there that you often get triggered by, but you're going to have tools that you can use in order to help you get through it. Because no one should have that kind of control over you or your emotions. Because we can't just draw away from everyone and build up walls of protection and kind of isolate ourselves in a bubble. We want to be able to be in the world and be amongst the chaos and amongst the things that cause the triggers to come up. And we want to be able to navigate those. And we want to be able to heal ourselves and grow. And so we want to be able to be in situations like that and not feel triggered anymore. And the only way to do that is to step out of your comfort zone and to start putting yourselves in situations where you feel those triggered emotions of fear and worry and nervousness and anything else that you may be feeling. That's the only way to work through it, is just to continuously put yourself in those situations and make sure that you have the tools that you need to push through and make it through those situations and to make those situations much easier. And if you're interested in learning more about that and going deeper into this practice, you can look in the description box below, and you can message me for a free discovery session and find out if my coaching services are a match for you and what you need. and we can work through this together. But yeah, I hope everybody got something out of that. And I hope that I have redefined anxiety for you guys. And I hope that you're going to start using more precise language to describe how you're actually feeling so that you don't have to feel like a victim of your emotions. And I hope that you'll try the meditation that I taught you in the video prior to this. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.